let's dive in, guys. So how are you doing, everyone? So today I'm gonna break down possibly the weekly trading range, but it's not really that. There's not really much of action going on around here. This is Monday's trading. This is Tuesday. You can see we just opened. This is Nasdaq, by the way. So I'm on the 1 hour time frame. I'm not gonna do a lot over here on this price action over here, so I'm just gonna show you what it did. So there's actually this thing called the power of 3, where we open like here, this line, this line, the dotted line, the dashed one. So this delineates the 12 a.m. midnight open, as you can see there, the midnight open. So there's a manipulation that must occur every time before a significant movement, you see. So this day was a bullish day. As you can see, we opened here, we sold, and then we bought. Here we opened, here we went up, we manipulated into the upside, and then we sold. And when we manipulated, we went to our new day opening gap. As you can see, the green one, there's this gap right here. Let me try and zoom in. So there's a gap on these two candlesticks right here. We went to the low of the gap and then collapsed for the day. But what I wanted to show you, today's video is actually about the NFP movement, this buy movement. But first of all, I'm gonna start on my DXY. I'm gonna show you how the move was clear on DXY. So on the dollar, the move this week, this long tail week, this was the move. It was actually bearish, and then afterwards, after going to the downside, you see we retraced to the back to inside the range. But if you look at this, let me zoom out first. This is a daily fair value gap. So we broke below the daily fair value gap, and then we returned to touch it. But upon returning to touching the fair value gap, we had equal highs and equal lows. Let me remove this ad. So these two highs are your buy side liquidity, and then these two lows are your sell side liquidity. As you can see, price went apologies. So as you can see, price firstly went to the buy side, taking out buy side, and then revisiting that daily fair value gap. And then what I was looking at, I wanted to see whether before the NFP release, are we below the sell side liquidity or are we still above it? And that's gonna determine whether I'm gonna be bullish or bearish. But I don't trade NFP, so it was just an anticipation, not that I wanted to enter sells or buys, but just for fun. So actually there was a draw on liquidity that was not taken, so it is still intact. So for the next coming trading days, you can look at that for reference or targets. And then going to gold, you will see that, you see there's a, let me go to the daily. sorry. So on this is the 4-hour time frame. So this is the daily fair value gap that we were inside of it, and then I saw like this buy movement after touching the daily fair value gap, and then we had these equal highs right here. They were my target. Believe me, they were my target. I have a screenshot telling someone that I wanted to see the blue line getting tagged. It's like the same narrative I had with dollar index, but let me explain this thoroughly. So we had this daily fair value gap right here, and then upon like leaving the daily fair value gap, we created a 4-hour fair value gap, which is this one, and this gap right here. Look at it, look at it, look at it, magnificent. And then the NFP release was actually inside of, let me highlight this so that you can see what I'm talking about when I move to the lower time frame. So the NFP release is here. We didn't take out buy side. What we did, it spiked to the downside inside of that 4-hour fair value gap, and then pushed to like peak above the buy side liquidity over here. You see that how technical analysis can actually help you, but you gotta be careful when you're trying to trade these volatile movements. But then today we're gonna review sorry. I keep hearing voice. Something's this movement. But let's move on. So today I want to look at these 3 assets that I trade. So it's US500 first. The second one is US100, which is Nasdaq. The third one is gonna be US30. So let's start off with this one. So US30 high time frame analysis. We broke out of this. We broke below. We actually disrespected. We didn't show respect to this daily fair value gap that I'm gonna show you right now. After this thing finishes zooming in. So yeah, let's move on to the daily. Come on. So ignore these dotted lines. I'm gonna need them. Actually, I'm gonna need one actually. Let me just delete them. What's that thing? I'm gonna need one, and it's gonna be something that you can use when you're gonna trade. So here I was looking at this fair value gap right here. So on this day, which was Tuesday, the 3rd of September, we closed below it. That is a sign that we we like broke, we are below it. Once price close below it, you're gonna regard it as an inverse fair value gap. So in simple terms, we were supposed to use this to go up, but now that we closed below it, we're gonna use it like to go down, to continue to the downside. That's the logic you must use in when you are trading these concepts. So today's price action, this is US30. That's why that's why it doesn't look clean on the eye, but I'm gonna try and dissect everything. So this is midnight open, entering Friday. So we open, we go lower. When we go lower, we do not take out sell side. You see this low? This was the previous day low. We do not take out any sell side. We only take out these lows. And look at this. This is the new week opening gap. I'm gonna use it later. And then the NFP release is over here. Move on to, let me go to the 1 minute. I saw someone commenting on my photos, telling me that I shouldn't trade the 1 minute time frame is noise. So this is the NFP release, non-farm release. You can see that it went up into the new day opening gap. It stopped right there and then rejected back inside. But look at the close of the candlestick inside this new week opening gap. Oh, it's an old new week opening gap. Look at this. Break. We touch it again and then we go inside the new day opening gap. We stop there, we consolidate, showing some respect to the new day opening gap, and then we push to the upside. So upon doing that, when we pushed to the upside like that here, we took out liquidity. You see these highs, this high and this high, they are, for me, they are relatively equal. I don't know to you, but I see buy side liquidity right there. And then if you open your sessions, you will see that this is actually the Asian session high. So that is liquidity. So we haven't took any sell side liquidity yet when we took out this buy side. So my logic is when we take out buy side, the next target is sell side. That's my logic. And then that's when I was looking at the charts. I waited and waited for an opportunity to enter the market. The best entry here for me is this. You see this candlestick? This candlestick, let me highlight this. You see this candlestick right here? This candlestick right here, which is the 955 candlestick. Come on, yes, the 955 candlestick. That is the best entry. But then I missed that. I don't know. I didn't focus. So I missed that entry, and then I waited for price to like create another entry opportunity. And then let me show you. Let me just switch on my execution labels so that you can see what time did I actually enter and what I was looking. So here are my entry. You see this arrow right here. I sold, sell 11 contracts. You see this is a fair value gap. There's a fair value gap right there. The pink area is the fair value gap. We touched it here, second time, and then the third time when it touched the fair value gap right here. It went down in speed, and then that's why you see that my execution was a bit lower. It was around here because it touched here and then rejected to the lower part or lower half or whatever. But then my logic was this fair value gap, I'm gonna sell it, and then my target is the non-farm payroll low. And then I took partials here, all below this low. I took my partials, and then I waited, and then I took my overall trade right there, below the sell side liquidity. And then as you can see, price like came to the new week opening gap, closed above it, came back below it, then continued doing its thing, you know. But then US30 was not that interesting to me today, to speak the truth. The interesting things to me is this one and the Nasdaq. So, hey, I hope I was recording. Hey. Yeah, damn it. So if you look at this, we have a daily fair value gap. We have a new week opening gap right here. If you see a red dotted line on my chart, that's a new week opening gap. And then if you see a green line, whatever is green, it's a literal gap. But the lines highlight the new day opening gaps. And then this is also a new week opening gap. That's a new week opening gap. That's a new day opening gap. That's a new day opening gap. And that's a new day opening gap. So I just explained everything on my chart currently. But then this is the midnight open. You want to see where we go. So it opened, go lower into the new week opening gap. We showed some respect there. NFP release, we shot up. We went further up into the new week opening gap, further into the daily, into the new day opening gap, above the new week opening gap, taking out this high. You see this sell side liquidity, equal lows. We took them out first, and then so when price was around here, I was my what do I say, my model was telling me that we're gonna sell, but looking at the daily candlestick, I wasn't so sure of selling. That's why I did it on this paper trading account on TradingView. But then let me explain further. So we took buy side here, this run, and then we came back inside the range, like deep. This is deep. If you zoom out, this is pretty a deep movement. So, and then if you look carefully, this is a breaker block. This thick candlestick, this single one, it's a breaker block. So it's gonna be, and then it's gonna be something like that. That is a breaker block. Come on. It's gonna be a breaker. So that's a breaker block, and that's a fair value gap. Immediately when it returned to the fair value gap, look, we have many things right here. First thing first, we took out buy side liquidity. Secondly, we have a breaker block. Third, there's a fair value gap. Fourth, we are inside of a new week opening gap. The fifth one is the new day opening gap. So you see, there's a lot of things here that's supporting my narrative, my bias. Then my target here as well was the NFP low, which is here. As you can see, I entered on this candlestick at first, there inside the fair value gap. The second entry was also inside the fair value gap. As you can see, the arrows showing you where I entered, and then there's the take profit. Let's go to Nasdaq. Nasdaq was pretty quick and short. I actually wanted to trade the PM session today, but then it was a practice move. I wanted to see something. I have some logic that I wanted to use. So here, if you look at it, we opened right here. This is Nasdaq. We opened right here. This is a new day opening gap. We opened to our sell side liquidity right here into a 1 hour fair value gap. We showed respect, creating relatively equal lows, but this was a little shoot below it. We shot up NFP release here. You wait, you don't trade, you wait, and then it goes up, consolidate. You see, you gotta look at where is it consolidating. This is the latest new day opening gap, but this is the old new day opening gap, but it's this week's new week opening gap. So it is consolidating between two new day opening gaps. That is very crucial. You want to see where it breaks down, but your expectations. So I was expecting sales when it was busy here, and then this breakout right here, if like it broke out and then it went up, I wouldn't trade that. Initially I was looking for sales. I was looking for a break below. So what it does here, truly speaking, I wanted to sell, né? But this wasn't easy, man. It didn't sit well with me. You see, this is a fair value gap right here. This is also a gap, a literal gap. We close here, we open here. So this is a gap. That's why I'm including it when I say this is a fair value gap. So this is a fair value gap, and then we return into the fair value gap. Also, we return into a new day opening gap. That's an entry. I wasn't comfortable entering there, so I waited for another opportunity. Here I gotta explain myself a bit. What I did here, né? If you look at this candlestick, this is a breaker block, né? We touched the breaker block here, and we created another breaker block, which is this candlestick. Let me show you what I was looking at. I don't usually do this, but you'll understand probably. I hope so. Breaker block, né? So this is the fair value gap. We respect it here, we go below, and then I was seeing this candlestick, and when it was busy here, this candlestick like going up and down, I was looking at this one, the body. Let me highlight them both. So this is the So if you look at it, né? This candlestick, I was looking at the new day opening gap, also using this breaker block. This is the low, this is the body of it. So it was like, let me just call it fear of missing out. That led me to enter here. So it came back, closed below the new day opening gap, and then it was going up and down around the new day opening gap, also the breaker block. This is a high, low, high, high. We break below it. This is a break. like a pattern, but the pattern gotta form somewhere at a certain time. But we'll leave this for another day. You see, once it returned into the breaker block low, I entered my first sell. You see, it filled me here right at the close, which was not the entry that I wanted to see, but whatever. And then it opened, and then it opened here, shot up into the fair value gap. Look at where it filled me. It was quick. It was a pretty quick movement. Remember, it's NFP day. We're a few minutes off from NFP, so it happens. It was very quick. So when I clicked the button, like the movement from this cursor to like the corner, you see, like it takes a bit, like a second. So I missed it by a second. So like when I clicked the button, it like shot down, but it's fine. At least I got entered somewhere nice. And then it went down. You see this low right here, I was taking my partials below it. It was giving me problems. I couldn't, but I ended up taking them 2 minutes after. Then I saw this fair value gap. I didn't want to see this one get filled, you see, because the videos are gonna come, Joe. Once I see that there are serious people in the mentorship like course, there's explanations of why you don't wanna see certain gaps getting filled. But then I highlighted this one, and then I saw respect of it. You see the candlesticks are closing right around the 50% of the fair value gap. Once I saw this fair value gap getting created, I got relieved that I'm hitting my take profit. And mind you, this was the first trade of the 3. And then my targets wasn't the what you call the NFP low. It was these lows. You see this low and this low, they're pretty equal. And then that was it for today, guys. And also for me to target day, I saw this 1 hour fair value gap. There was possibilities of it like pushing price back up, and I don't want to see me making money and giving back to the market. Like, I'm here to make money, not to give you money. So yeah, let me explain this one. It was actually a loss. I never really traded PM session. This was my first time actually. I wanted to see some theory I saw like some people on social media talking, so I wanted to test it out. But then, not that it doesn't work, but then it's not for me. So when I wanted to use this fair value gap right here to like push price and eventually take out this high, and also tap into the 1 hour fair value gap and go down. You see? So I wanted to see this choppiness, like if you turn it around, I wanted to see it here, and then this shot to the downside, I wanted to see happen here, start here, and then in there. But then it is what it is. If you look at that new week opening gap, that's an old new week opening gap, by the way. Look at the respect, 1 2 shot down. Look at this one. You see, this is the high, this is the 50%, this is the low. Look at the 50%. Mad. But then yeah, that was it for today. I mean, these 3 trades only, you pass your funded account easy. You pass it. Just that it requires very let me not say very, that's the wrong word. It requires excellent discipline, and that's one thing that we as people fail to do. But then thank you for watching this. It was pretty long, but then you might get something out of this. I know I said I wanted to like check the economic calendar, but yeah, that I think that was enough. And thank you for watching. Stay tuned.